That's Kim Brymer in the back.
I did.
I knew that'd bring you. Clerk will call the roll.
Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy Charles Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Andy H. Wynn, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Here.
J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation today will be delivered by Chaplain Wesley McDuffie from the Sheriff's Department. After the invocation, please remain standing for our pledges. Thank you, sir.
Sir, yes, sir. Let us pray. Dear Lord, we just thank you. We thank you for being so kind, each and every one of us. But yet still, while we stand here thanking you, we also ask your blessings upon the families that were devastated by the tornadoes that ravaged their neighborhoods. Father, and by the officers that were shot, the firefighters that were injured. Lord, it wasn't our county this time, but it could have been. But you blessed us and you sustained us, and we thank you for your sustaining grace. But now, Lord, we just ask that you bless this meeting this day. Bless this county. We've lost about 6 employees since we met last, and over the last year. But Lord, we know that you're still on the throne and you're still blessing us anyhow. As we honor them, Lord, today, and as we honor our employees today, Lord, I just thank you for the weather that you provided for us, the venue that you gave us, but Lord, the grace that you continue to provide. So thank you, Lord. Thank you for these commissioners and this judge, Father, that want to make this county the best county that there ever been. Give them the wisdom and the grace to do it. It's in Jesus' name I pray and ask it all. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Chaplain. Mr. Manius.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
might I ask that we close court this morning in honor of Pastor Robinson of the Mount Olive Baptist Church in Arlington, who happened to be a mentor to our chaplain and a great friend and spiritual leader in Tarrant County.
Certainly.
This is on behalf of me and my colleague to my left.
His funeral service is this Saturday at 11 o'clock, if you would like to participate.
To my left.
We understand. To my right. Come on, Mr. Manius. Go ahead and make them agenda announcements.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 4 announcements as it relates to the agenda this morning. The first is under proclamations. Item 6B, there is revised slide presentation in your red packet this morning. The second one is under the county administrator section. This will be item number 9A2. It's the approval of an FY 2016-17 HIV Ryan White Award. We're going to hold that for 1 week. Also under the administrator section, item 9A9. This is a subrecipient contract out of community development. We're going to hold that for 1 week. And then finally, members, on the purchasing agenda, this will be item 9J20. This is an ILA with Travis County. There's one item I'd like to discuss with Mr. Beecham before we move forward. That will be on the agenda for next week. Also today we have hot dog celebration out front, employee celebration, which starts at 12 o'clock.
I think we're celebrating the employees, not the hot dogs.
Well, That's impressive. I know that there's at least one person up there that's actually paying attention to what I'm saying.
Which is quite different from when I always recess into closed session, but that's,
It starts.
Would you like to continue?
It just starts at 12 o'clock, guys.
Mr. Manius, thank you so much for those agenda announcements. They were so informative today. We just really are excited about the fact that you were able to give us those.
Appreciate that, Judge.
You bet. Court members, you have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of April the 18th.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. We do have a big day today. We're celebrating a lot of great things, and we're going to begin, and we're going to ask the coach, Coach Shingleton. That name may sound somewhat familiar if you're in the Fort Worth area. This is the son of a city councilman for Fort Worth, and I would like to ask them to come forward. And Commissioner Brooks, would you like to say a little bit?
Thank you, Judge.
I just kind of jumped off into that one.
Yeah, you did. Come on up, Coach. Texas Wesleyan University.
Blocking. No, that's fine.
The hidden jewel in education in Tarrant County, but not so hidden anymore because of a couple of things. Number one, the advertising campaign, smaller, smarter, has done just wonders for our application pool and for our average SAT and whatever that other test is. ACT score. There's also football, which is returning to Texas Wesleyan next year, I believe. And the reason that we celebrate this morning, the NAIA National Championship basketball team, the 2017 Texas Wesleyan Rams. We had hoped to have some members of the basketball team present this morning, but I understand because finals start in 2 days, and those young men have their priorities straight. So, Mayor, thank you for what you did to honor this fantastic university and this fantastic team, and your honor. Would you please read the resolution into the record?
I will. I keep hoping that one of these days that cat is going to make it to the windowsill. If you've watched any of their commercials, they've got the one little cat that's jumping from the desk to the window and just doesn't quite get there. But we're excited about it. Whereas the Texas Wesleyan University Rams earned a third-place seed in the 80th Annual Buffalo Funds National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics Division I National Championship Tournament, which holds the distinction of being the oldest in the country, preceding both the NIT and the NCAA competitions. And whereas the Rams, ranked 10th nationally, received an automatic bid to the tournament as the Sooner Athletic Conference regular season champion, their second consecutive SAC regular season champion, and whereas their opening round win over the University of Cumberland was the program's first national tournament victory since 2010, and the Rams went on to defeat the Masters University in round 2 and Dalton State College in round 3. And whereas in the Fab Four, Texas Wesleyan erased a 16-point second-half deficit and used overtime to defeat top-seeded William Penn University 83-82, thanks to a baseline jumper from Deion Rogers with 2.3. This was pretty exciting. I'm excited just reading it. 2.3 seconds remaining, and whereas the final game, the Rams delivered a dominant 86-76 victory over Life University, earning the basketball program's second national NAIA national championship in 15 tournament appearances, in which they now hold an all-time record of 18-13. And whereas subsequently 3 seniors, Deion Rogers, Niall Smith, and Nigel Young, were named All-Americans, and Ram head coach Brennan Shingleton was named Coach of the Year in both the SAC and the NAIA. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby commend and congratulate the Texas Wesleyan University Rams players and coaches for winning the 2017 NAIA Men's Basketball National Championship. In witness whereof we have hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 2nd day of May 2017.
And I will move its approval by saying that I didn't matriculate at Texas Wesleyan, but Texas Wesleyan is my university.
Does that matriculate mean you didn't go there?
Wherever you went, they taught you a little something.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
These guys.
Coach?
I don't need a microphone, do I?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, go ahead, because you're on video up here, and so you're on live and streaming.
Well, we appreciate it, obviously. We really wanted to have the guys here. I'm very glad that Mark had the patience with us to coordinate that, but we do have finals. But it's always a privilege to stand here in front of you guys in the city of Fort Worth and represent the hard work of these young men and the sacrifices they have, because student athletes at our level particularly eat a lot of Subway and pizza and a lot of long bus rides, and there's no excuse for them to miss class or anything in that regard. So what they did was something very special, to win 5 games in 6 days, and not only that, but they're all just great, upstanding young men that have 0 character issues or anything to that effect. So they're doing it the right way in our eyes, and so we just continue to strive to do that and make everybody around us proud. And at the end of the day, I think the university is in a great place, and this helps that cause as well. So we thank you for the time and the effort to bring us here today. I wish I'd have had more guys here, but feel free to reach out to us at any point, and we'll bring them back. So,
Coach, thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Thank
y'all.
you, Coach.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to introduce Susan, who is our community resource coordinator, who's going to come and talk to us about our United Way campaign. Welcome.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Susan.
Thank you. As you mentioned earlier, today is just a great day to be an employee here at Tarrant County. Not only do we have employee recognition on our agenda, we're setting up for employee appreciation on the lawn, and we're actually going to acknowledge our 2016 Tarrant County United Way Award winners for the department and for you as the Commissioners Court. This year, I know our campaign was a little bit different. I'm still brand new, and I came in at the very end, but I do want to brag on the information that I've received since coming here to Tarrant County. I'm very impressed with our employees. There is a great passion for our community, and it really showed this year. There were some great creative department campaigns, and I'm very excited to be here and be a part of this. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. This year, collectively, as an organization, we raised over $82,153.62. That's about $5,000 more than we raised last year. And this other number, this $19 per capita donation, that's a very important number, and I'm going to ask that you guys kind of remember that number because we're going to come back to it in a minute. So this year, as far as awards go, we are going to be honoring the top 3 departments in 3 categories, again, excluding Commissioners Court, because Ann Farmer did let me know y'all are very competitive. So we have an award for you guys as well. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass out our awards. The categories that we're looking at this year is we have increased over last year, total dollars raised, and per capita giving. So, Ange, I'm going to get Ange to help me. Our first place winner in our increase over last year goes to Juvenile Services, and they increased their donation by 300% this year.
Wow. Somebody from Juvenile, come on down. Benny, get your people down here.
They had a really unique campaign, and I'm going to pick Christina's brain later. They did a Family Feud, so that ought to be interesting. I think they had somebody dress up as Steve Harvey too. Yeah. So congratulations.
I'm not sure everything they did was legal, but
Okay, don't say that.
I don't know that I'd be saying that with the DA in the room.
And our second place winner goes to Transportation, and they increased their employee campaign by 195%. And our third place winner goes to Housing, and they increased their campaign by 156%. The next category is total dollars raised, and our first place winner is Public Health. And I think you guys have a long time on this. Y'all been winning first place for a while. Thanks. Public Health.
Anybody else from Public Health? Come on, please.
You got more people than that just that are being recognized today.
And second place goes to the county auditor. And third place goes to the county administrator's office.
Come on, GK, get up there.
Lisa, don't go too far. We get the next one also.
And first place for per capita giving goes to the county administrator's office.
Who is that over there?
That's Steve Towson.
Now, just remember, it says up there, excluding Commissioners Court.
Yes. The second place goes to Cooperative Extension. place goes to the county auditor. Well, this next slide is for Commissioners Court, and like I said, I have in my notes that y'all are a very competitive bunch, and
It's just a matter of whoever comes in last buys us all lunch.
well, and that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. So, and just remember, I'm the messenger. That's it. I am just the messenger. So I'm just doing what I'm told. So
Yeah, get on with it.
there it is. So. Congratulations to County Judge Glenn Whitley. You are the first place winner in the per capita giving for Commissioners Court Awards.
I'm interested how you do that math.
Well,
You
see,
divide it by the number of employees in your office.
he created per capita giving because he could never win on straight dollars.
And he
That's
made all
a
of us
CPA for
Now,
you.
just
This
if you're
time
going
he
to
did.
get into this, go back a slide.
Uh-oh.
Now there were 6 people in my department. Total dollars raised. So I was above the department, the public health department, and our department raised somewhere in the neighborhood of over $12,000.
We're counting all of our maintenance crews at our numbers though. So we're at 50-something employees and you're at 6.
Still on the total.
We haven't seen the total, so we have no way of verifying.
You're showing that
What
you're
you're telling
25 times better than the highest commissioner.
Do you really want to get into this argument with the CPA?
Hey, I'm just
want
telling
to
you
know
what it
if
says.
you really want to get into this with the
It
CPA.
shows that you're 25 times what our highest number is.
Shakespeare said, first kill the lawyers. He should have
And then the
said, first kill
CPAs.
the lawyers and the CPA.
Well, I'm real proud of my group and the money they raise.
We're proud of everybody
Yeah.
and the money that they have given. We increased, and more importantly, at this point in time,
Did you beat Fort Worth?
would
Well-
you like to introduce Mr. McKinney?
Well, I've got 2 more awards and 1 special award. Is that okay?
Okay. Go right ahead.
So I do want to congratulate Commissioner Fickus. You are our 2nd place winner.
What's that for?
And I would like to congratulate Commissioner Johnson as our 3rd place winner. And in the spirit of Ann Farmer, I do have 1 more award to give out in the notes that I have and in the binders that she has. I think that she always gives out 1 final award when doing the United Way presentation. As I mentioned earlier, that $19 is a real key number for this particular campaign because going to what Judge Whitley just said, we did beat the city of Fort Worth, and we beat the city of Fort Worth 4 pennies. By 4 pennies. That's it.
I get $1.04.
Oh, $1.04. Well, now okay. Because being new, if I was going to give a theme to this campaign, and if I was going to name it, I would call it the Every Penny Counts campaign. Because I have a piggy bank that has 4 pennies in it, and it is for you, Judge Whitley, because at the end of the day, that 4 pennies, they really do matter. And I think more importantly than just this being the award that we beat the city of Fort Worth is the fact that when we as a team, we as the county employees, when we all work together, we really do win. We win for the community, we win internally. And I think that if there's any takeaway that we have today, this is just a reminder of what a great team we are and how we pulled together to make a fabulous campaign. And I am so looking forward to next year. So I thank you very much and enjoy.
Now, I will just say again, it's the CPA coming out at me, is that 4 pennies times the number of employees means that if anyone in Fort Worth had given $275 more, they would have won by a penny as opposed to have lost by 4 pennies because of the number of employees that they had. So you talking about how close it was literally $275 difference as you go through in total. If any employee in Fort Worth, or more importantly, if any employee in Tarrant County had not given what they gave, then it would have made the difference. And so it says your gifts are very, very important. And I can absolutely, if I were in the Fort Worth shoes, I guarantee you I'd be telling every employee, had you just given $275, which would have worked out to be about $10 per paycheck, we would have beat Tarrant County. So what does that mean to y'all? You all need to up it by $10 a paycheck next time, because I can guarantee you she ain't happy. Now would you like to introduce Tim?
Yes, sir, I will. We do have some special guests with us today from United Way of Tarrant County. We do have Tim McKinney, the CEO. We have T.D. Smyers, the COO. We have Leah King, the Senior Vice President at Development. And Faye Ballou, she is the Northeast Regional Director and our United Way rep with us. So.
Thought I was attending Family Feud there for a little bit. Well, I want to address Mayor Price and Judge Whitley. We are very appreciative of the campaigns that both the county and the city ran. The city raised 13% more this year than they did last year, over $131,000. And it should have been another $275. But we're very appreciative of the employees and the volunteers of both the county and the city. Very appreciative of Clinice Robinson's leadership at the city campaign, and very appreciative of Susan's leadership here at the county. We need to make the award presentation right now. Come on down. T.D.?
Come on, Mayor. You know, we had a group this morning in from Facebook making some film. They were the one, they said, you know, we met you before. I said, I don't remember. They said, yeah, you were peddling somebody up and down Main Street. That's right. And so the one picture, the group that did that, and videoed me peddling her up and down Main Street, when they won that first year, that's the only one that I said, why don't you stick around? And they said, no, we got to go. But again, it's been great, Betsy.
You know, it really is. It's all about helping the community. And we did raise ours 13% from the CPA. You only raised yours 7%. And you know, I'm here to eat another piece of humble pie, but if I had the paycheck you did,
doesn't forget to remind you about that too.
Well, the county gets to retain the 4-cent award for one more year.
you know, I tried to argue that 4 cents was just a rounding. That's statistical, but that didn't believe me. But really, it's all in good spirits, and I'm proud of y'all and proud of our team too.
You bet.
Next year, I will write a bigger check.
And I'll also say, for the last couple of years, I said, well, we already get the other end of this horse for the loser. But I'm going to tell you, I'm not sure we're going to do that because I got a feeling. The first year we get the other end of that horse, I might be carrying it home. Because I can tell you, she's just a little competitive. People who are running the campaigns tell me that.
Yeah.
But it has been a great, it really has been a great competition. I'm looking forward to it continuing. United Way does a tremendous amount of work in our community, and I think that, I've had a chance to work with United Way for really over 40 years at different levels and in different ways, and I do very much believe in the work they do. I know that he does.
Okay, over 210,000 between the two of us is not shabby. It's a very good figure for our community.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Judge, do they call that the Godfather Trophy?
Well, it's close. It's close. It weighs about as much as a horse. Okay, next we have the resolution for National Day of Prayer. Vicki Phillips, I believe, is here for that, and let me find that resolution, and then I'll read it into the record. Vicki, come on down. Whereas a National Day of Prayer, first proclaimed by the Continental Congress in 1775, comes from the understanding that faith and prayer were both fundamental to the formation of our nation, giving strength, wisdom, and peace to mankind, and whereas in 1789 both houses of Congress requested George Washington set aside a day of public thanksgiving and prayer in which he stated, "It is the duty of all nations to acknowledge the providence of Almighty God, to obey His will, to be grateful for His benefits, and humbly implore His protection and favor." And whereas in 1952, both houses of Congress unanimously passed a resolution establishing an official day of prayer that was signed by President Harry Truman, and whereas Congress permanently designated the first Thursday in May as the annual National Day of Prayer, and the law was signed by President Ronald Reagan in 1988. And whereas in April 2011, the U.S. Court of Appeals 7th Circuit upheld the 1952 Congressional Act proclaiming the annual National Day of Prayer to be observed in our nation. And whereas this 66th annual National Day of Prayer theme is "For you grant and for your great name's sake, hear us, forgive us, and heal us." The theme scripture is Daniel 9:19. O Lord, listen. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, hear and act. For your sake, O my God. And whereas we ask God to watch over our nation, protect us, give us wisdom in the days ahead, and we recognize the power of prayer that formed and will sustain the nation for future generations. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby recognize Thursday, May the 4th, 2017, as the 66th Annual National Day of Prayer in Tarrant County. In witness whereof we have herein to set our hands and cause the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed the second day of May 2017, and I'll move its approval.
Second.
We have a motion to second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Multiple cameras. And we got one more.
Oh, okay.
This is our official.
Thank you.
Feel free to.
Okay. Well, Judge Whitley, Commissioner Ficus, J.D. Johnson, Annie Wynn, and Commissioner Brooks. I just want to thank you so much for sponsoring this proclamation or resolution once again. National Day of Prayer is growing in Tarrant County, and we thank you for your support. Our National Day of Prayer will be this Thursday at Burnett Park here in Tarrant County, beginning at 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. We hope as many of you can join us will. And this year we have a revival that's going on in Tarrant County that began on the evening of Easter, and it goes through Pentecost. And so we will have some of the people that are responsible for doing an outreach into the entire Tarrant County area involved in our program for that day for the first time. And so we're really happy to see also that we're getting more and more people in the community involved in praying right where you are. You know, we can all lift up our voice right where we are at the grocery store, if we see a person in need, wherever we are. That's what makes our community stronger, is our relationship with the Lord and our relationship with one another. And so we're encouraging everyone to pray wherever you are. If you see somebody in need of prayer, pray a prayer. And I just want to thank you once again for this, and we appreciate your support.
Thank you very much for that. Next, we have a proclamation for Flight to Freedom. It's Children's Mental Health Awareness Day, and Valencia, here we go, Jinsolan. Hey, I came pretty close. She is with Family Lead for Family Connections of Tarrant County, and I will read the resolution into the record. Whereas more than 50% of students with mental illness drop out of high school, 61% of youth in Tarrant County juvenile justice system have a mental illness, 30% of children and youth in the child welfare system have a mental health issue, and 20% of children ages 0 to 3 years in the early childhood intervention program have a delay in social emotional development. And whereas suicide is a leading cause of death among school-aged children younger than 12, and suicide crisis critical incidents in the Fort Worth Independent School District have tripled since 2010. And whereas there continue to be barriers to children and youth receiving care they need, including financial, educational, and most importantly, the stigma that marks those with mental illness. And whereas addressing the complex mental health needs of children, youth, and families today is fundamental to the future of Tarrant County. And whereas the Family Connection of Tarrant County will hold the Flight to Freedom Festival in downtown Fort Worth on May the 6th, releasing butterflies to draw attention to issues surrounding mental health in children. And whereas Family Connection of Tarrant County is committed to improving the system for our children with mental health needs, now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim May the 6th, 2017 as Children's Mental Health Awareness Day in Tarrant County. And further, we join with counties across Texas to support Flight to Freedom from stigma. In witness whereof we have hereinfore set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this second day of May 2017, and I'll move its approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you so much, Judge Whitley and Commissioners. My name is Valencia Genselin, and I'm the lead family member with Family Connection of Tarrant County. And we want to thank you for your ongoing support of Tarrant County as we continue to improve the mental health system here for families in our community. We hope everyone will join us on May 6th as we have our Flight to Freedom Festival at the old Tarrant County Courthouse. And we'll have a youth speaker and a parent speaker speak, and we will have a walk around the county, the courthouse, and have a butterfly release that signifies flight to freedom from stigma. And although it's a tough topic, we will plan to have a really fun day. And we have demonstrations from yoga and Tai Chi that's going to be there that day with watercolors for the children. And Rowdy from the Dallas Cowboys will be out there signing autographs for families. We'll also have really amazing door prizes to give out to the community. And so I just want to say thank you so much for this proclamation and for hearing from us, and have a good day. Thank you.
Commissioner Brooks.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a proclamation for ratification only, honoring the 40th anniversary of the Tarrant County Black Historical and Genealogical Society. I move its approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Commissioner Wynn.
Your Honor, I have two resolutions for ratification only. The first one is a National Kidney Walk at 8:30 this Saturday at the Levitt Pavilion to raise awareness to the prevention of kidney disease. Everyone is invited to join us. And the second one was the commemorative ceremony of the Vietnam, the struggle for freedom and democracy. And you were there, Your Honor. Thank you for your presence. It's the 42nd anniversary of the fall of Saigon, so I move for the approval of those two resolutions.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. And that brings us now to the best part of each month, and that's getting an opportunity to recognize employees who are celebrating anniversaries with the county in that particular month. And so I will read your name, and then if you will, please stand and remain standing until that particular group is complete. So we'll start with our 5-year employees. First is Armando Argina. Yeah, here we go. Sheriff's Department. Is Armando here?
Arriaga.
Yeah, that works too. Yolanda Boswell, County Clerk's Office. Okay, how close did I get? Well, that's pretty close. Jessica Carlin, Sheriff's Department. Okay. Scott, every one of these. Cermak, Information Technology. Nope. Don't set out on me over there. I'll get you. Richard Chapman, Criminal District Attorney's Office. John Devala, Sheriff's Department. Eric Krause, Sheriff's Department. Heather Kramer, Medical Examiner's Office. Candace Lambert, Sheriff's Department. Palvina Lazarova, Juvenile Services. If anywhere near right on that one, it's a miracle. And she's not here. Leah Martinez, Sheriff's Department. Misty Melder, Information Technology. Nicole Morrison, Sheriff's Department. Nicole. Crystal Salazar, Sheriff's Department. Crystal. Joseph Stallings, Jr., Sheriff's Department. Loretta Stiegel, Sheriff's Department. Eric Swenson, Sheriff's Department. And Brittany Ware, Criminal District Attorney's Office. Let's give all these a hand. Thank y'all very much. Now you can be seated. Now for our 10-year employees. Eddie Farmer, Information Technology. Carolyn Norwood, Public Health. Ronnie Sanders, Sheriff's Department. and Lynn Self, Sheriff's Department. We're going to have to work on those 10-year folks. 15-year employees. Teresa Bryant, County Clerk's Office. Yay! It's a good start. Denise Buchan, Probate Court number 2, and I didn't say that last name.
You did perfect.
I'm amazed. I'm going to stop right there, go out and buy a lottery ticket, and we'll be in great shape. Janet Carter Harvey, Tax Office. Okay. Carol Chapman, Sheriff's Department. Willie Collier, Sheriff's Department. Stan Kuhn, Information Technology. Robert Dominguez, Juvenile Services. Becky Feinstead, Criminal District Attorney's Office. Mary Louise Garcia, I think I got this one right. County Clerk. Leah Hayden, District Clerk's Office. Ingrid Lauer, Tax Office. Francis Parsons, Tax Office. Ruben Reyes, Sheriff Department. Tanya Smith, Sheriff's Department. Celeste Wallace Vaughn, Domestic Relations Office. Raymond Whittis, Sheriff's Department. Michael Wenzel, Sheriff's Department. And that's our 15-year employees. Let's give them a hand. Now for our 20-year employees. Eric Boatner, Human Services. Vicki Doan. I should know that, Vicki. I apologize. Rose Enrique, Tax Office. Can you go ahead and Enriquez? Good choice. Tina Kaiser, Tax Office. And Stacy Turner, Sheriff's Department. All right, we had all 5 of them. Now for our 25 and plus. The first 25-year is Angie Bishop. She is with Public Health, but was not going to be able to make it today. So those of you from Public Health, be sure and congratulate Angie on her 25 years with the county. Next is John Parker, is with the Warrants area. There's John. Started out in Cold Springs, moved over to the police academy, spent some time in Belknap, at the Belknap, not in the Belknap, jail, and at the Corrections Center. Then went to Warrants as a profiler, and now is an extradition specialist in the Warrants area. When I asked memorable moments, he said, you know, I'd been here, I guess, for about 10 years, and he said, I met the woman who I have now been married to for 20 years. And she worked in the county and retired about 10 years ago, and now she's running her own business.
And she's sitting over there.
Yes. Stand up. Thank you for your time. When I asked him what he liked most, he said it has been a long and interesting road. There's been a lot of good people that he's had a chance to meet. He said he's really enjoying the new changes that the new sheriff's bringing in. He said he feels like that, you know, the county has been and is continuing to be moving in the right direction. And John, I'll tell you, we appreciate very much your 25 years of service with the county. Thank you. Okay, next, you can have a seat. Next is Michelle Brown, maybe? Michelle, thank you. I have a lot of people who help me up here. She started out in pretrial. She said she came back to the county right after having a child, and she was actually looking in the probation area, but found the job, or saw the job in pretrial, so she went ahead and applied for both of them. Hannibal Williams hired her. He was the first director there in the pretrial area, and there wasn't a whole lot of space, and she says there still isn't. And she actually sat at a table in Mr. Williams' office. And I think she asked so many questions that he may have finally moved her to another office. But she said, I learned a tremendous amount from him. When I asked her about her memorable moments, she got very involved in the National Association and was appointed first as a at-large director for the National Association. And then she served she ultimately served 4 years as president of the National Association of Pretrial Services. She really loved it, and she never even thought about leaving it. When last we talked at the 25-year mark, one of the comments that she made that she was working on getting a state association started. Well, she did. And it started about 4 years ago. And just recently, in 2016, for all of the work, not only in starting the state association, but just all of the work that she's done in the pretrial area, she was awarded and inducted into the Texas Pretrial Pioneer Award and into the Hall of Fame there. She's thinking about it this time. She said, I'm beginning to plan my retirement. She has 2 granddaughters, 8 and 3, and she's wanting to spend a little bit more time with them. But she also said, I know I'm not just going to be able to retire. And she says, I plan on getting much more involved in a national service sorority that she's a part of. She said, I've loved my time with the county, and I really have a passion, and I could tell just from talking with Michelle that she really has a passion for pretrial services. Michelle, thank you very much for your 30 years. Next is Bob Hazlett, Sheriff Warrants, 30 years. He's actually worked his last working day. He is retiring at the end of this month, May 31st of 2017. His wife, Judy, is with him today. Bob and Judy go to the same church as Brenda and I do and have for many, many years. Our children grew up together. He was hired on as a jailer and served in the patrol area, then was at Warrants, was the liaison at the Fort Worth ISD, and just a second, let me get down here. He's worked security on Kimbo Road, now is in the judicial area over at 200 West Belknap. When I asked him about memorable moments, he said when he started in patrol, he was working with hand-drawn maps versus the technology that exists today. Since last that we talked, he has 2 kids. One is in Macedonia, and the other is an executive for Microsoft, has 2 grandkids. He said, that over the years, I have really met a lot of great people and have really enjoyed working for Tarrant County. Has obtained 2 degrees, one in the criminal justice area from Columbia College, Missouri, and then graduated magna cum laude. And I don't have down here what the second. Where did you get your first degree? Was it from Columbia? Yes. Okay. My notes, I can't read them sometimes. But Bob, we thank you very, very much for your 30 years of service, and we wish you the best in your retirement. Next is David Mann. There's David. He started in the jail, spent some time in the narcotics area, courts. He was an instructor. He said he was in the auto theft task force under Walt West. and had a lot of great things to say about Walt. He is a floater now in the courts area. He said, I've seen a lot in the memorable ones. He said, I've seen a lot of great changes. He said, I started when Sheriff Carpenter was the sheriff. He really was active in the Deputy Association. It had become inactive back in the 80s, and in 91 he helped start the association back up. He said time has really flown by. He said, he had been married, divorced, thought he'd never get remarried, but he found the love of his life. And he said, we have 5 kids from 13 to 22, has a grandchild on the way. He said, I am really enjoying working with the new sheriff, and he hopes to be here for many more years. David, thank you very much for your 30 years of service. Next is John Ross with the sheriff in the courts area. There's John. He started in the jail as a deputy, spent some time over at the Resource Connection. Now works in the Justice Center. Is that where you're still working there? Or let me see if I've got you moved. Garage. Nope. They're in the garage, okay? That's right. Why I'm sitting here looking at you and I see you every time I go in the garage. When I've talked with, he was very, very involved in the Texas State Police games and has been. He has run the Boston Marathon 5 times. Wow. He's worked, he's taken care of and run the Fort Worth Zoo. He established the first Tarrant County Marathon team. I get tired just thinking about running 26 miles. He continues to be very, very active and work in that particular area. He's got his oldest daughter works in Parker County, and he has another daughter for the sheriff. He has another daughter that works for the Fort Worth Police, and then another daughter who works for Delta. He was inducted in the Texas Police Athletic Federation Hall of Fame, again because of all of his work in that particular area. He has a goal, and 5 years ago he said, my mission is to visit every courthouse in the state of Texas, and he'd been to over 100 at that time. Now he's over 200. So he's getting closer. Your wife is here today, I believe. Stand up and let us. His wife was with Tarrant County, worked in the district clerk's office for a while and then left. They have 9 grandbabies. The oldest is in Corpus. The youngest around 2. So the ages span from about 2 to 20. Now, one of the things he wanted me to mention, again, you've heard me talk about his involvement in the Texas Police games. Well, the Texas Police games are going to be in Fort Worth next year. Next year or this June? Next year. This year in Dallas. This year in Dallas. Next year around the middle of June, and the public's invited. So we're going to all we may have to go down there and participate. And you may have to try to find the mayor and see if you can get her to come and talk a little bit about it.
They have to do that for us.
Oh, they do? Okay, great. John, thank you very, very much for the 30 years of service you've done. Next is Robin Espy, and I don't believe she's going to be able to make it. She said she had planned on being down here and then called me late last week and said, we have mandatory training on Tuesday morning, and I'm not going to be able to make it. So if you hear or if you see Robin, she is again in CSCD. Please, she's now working for Judge Vanover in his court. Please congratulate her on her 35 years of service with the county. Next is somebody we all know and love right up until this time of the year. 40 years, our budget officer, Debbie Snyder. And we may have a couple of... Now, we've always talked about you being a pain someplace, but now we've been a pain in your back because she sits and she moves around because I just probably violated HIPAA, but that's all right. I know Robin's out there saying, you can't say that. Well, I just did. Obviously, Debbie has meant an awful lot to the county in the 40 years that she's been with us. She actually got started and came to work. Her uncle had passed away, and after the funeral, her parents had some folks over to the house, and this gentleman walked up to her, and it was Jack Benson. And he said, you know, if you ever are looking for a job, you might come down and talk to me at the county, and she did. And he hired her, and she started off in the auditor's office. And she started off as a temporary, making $3.35 an hour. And she's probably making about that now. If you look at all the hours that she works, she worked in the auditor's office until 1989 and then became the county's first and only budget director. When I asked her about memorable moments, she said the 2 courthouse shootings, again, appointing to the new department was always something that she talks about. She said watching the first prisoners arrive at the correction center. And then the thing that I have recounted many times to some of my friends is that she said in one of the first budget meetings with the sheriff and Jack Benson, Jack was giving his usual no answers when the sheriff leaned across the table and said, you know, for about $25, I could get you eliminated. And I'm not sure whether they thought the sheriff was kidding or not.
I didn't.
She said she just really enjoys being here, has worked through over 70 different department heads, has seen the office of treasurer abolished. She now has, I'm looking at 5 years ago, she had 2 grandbabies and a boy, and I think that you now have 4 with one on the way.
Right.
Now the 4 that she's got right now are down in Houston, but the one that's on the way, her daughter's, lives here in Fort Worth. So I think she's kind of, and your daughter's here. There she is, right over there. And stand up.
The whole family's here.
Yep. And so we're excited. I know how much it means to Debbie for y'all to be here. Brad, stand up. You thought you were going to get by.
Son-in-law Michael.
Son-in-law Michael.
And Matt standing up in Houston.
Matt watching it on the. Thank you, Matt. This back 5 years ago, you said it was going to be the 30th budget, so obviously this is going to be the 35th. She said I've worked for 4 judges. I think we determined 19. There's a little debate going on between 18 and 19, but we're going to 3 DAs now, and a whole lot of elected officials. She said, you know, most of the elected officials that were here when she started have left. In fact, there's, I guess, probably only about, we can count up about 3 that were still alive. Billy Mills, Suzanne Henderson, and Mike Moncrief.
Now, Susie wasn't in office when I started.
Okay.
But
She was a latecomer. You weren't in office when she first started.
No, she's older than I am.
I think it would be she has more years with the county than you have. Debbie, we really cannot say enough to thank you for what you do for the county, but also for the court. You know, when I tell people that our budget session lasts about a day, they look at me like, huh? And I said, well, and they'll ask me, do we have zero-based budgeting? I said, yeah, if you can get a penny past Debbie, then that's about as close to zero-based budgeting as I've ever known. And I really very much appreciate what you do for us in the budget area, and just overall as the historical person to go to find out, why do we do it that way? And she can usually tell us. And most of the time, she will not be real opinionated about what she tells us when she tells us. Yeah. So, Debbie, thank you very much for the 40 years you've given to Tarrant County. Now, we're going to recognize a lot of people outside after we get finished here today. But I want to tell you again how much we appreciate what y'all all do to make this the place it is, the great place it is to live, to raise a family, and now beginning to raise grandkids. And it doesn't happen by mistake. It doesn't just happen by chance. It really is something that I know y'all work at. And I can tell you I've been places where they don't work at it. And I can't thank you, and I know this court can't thank you enough for everything you do. We got refreshments back in 504C, and I hope y'all will all head back there. And Wilder, sit down.
You got better cookies in your office.
Well, you're not supposed to go in my office. That came from the National Day of Prayer. They figured we needed all the help we could get. So, again, thank you all very much for your time and for being here today. And we're going to take a short break here since we've been at this for a little over an hour.
This is that subdivision. We're not to it yet. Why is it that?
Oh, now we're talking about public hearings?
I guess that's got a public hearing.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, we have one public hearing this morning, and I'm going to ask Transportation to come up here and address the court at this time.
Thank you.
There it is.
Morning, members of the court. It is requested that the Commissioners Court conduct a public hearing to consider the placement of the stop signs in the Pecan Valley subdivision at the intersections of Stacy Valley Drive and at Silver Lane, and also at Maple Valley Drive at Flat Rock Road. This is in Precinct 4, and it boundaries on the border between Parker and Tarrant County, but these two intersections are just inside our boundary.
Okay, I'll open the public hearing at this time and ask if there's anyone here wishing to speak to this matter. There appearing to be none, then I will close the public hearing.
Move approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Now, Mr. Mayes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, if we could, before we go into the administrative section, if we could go back to proclamations, item B, the United Way presentation. We want to make sure we get all of that
Move
into the
to
minutes.
receive and file.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file item B. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
We just received this. So this is a audience participation plan. We want to know about it today. Members of the Court, we go to the Administrator's section, item A1. We're requesting that the Commissioners Court approve a resolution in support of special legislation for the addition of road powers to Far North Fort Worth Municipal Utility District Number 1 of Tarrant and Wise counties. This particular MUD resides in both Precinct 4 and 3.
And Wise County.
And Wise County also. We're requesting unanimous approval. You do have one audience participation for this.
Mr. Allen, would you like to come forward at this time and speak to this?
Is he not the applicant?
Yes, sir. I only submitted that to speak if you have questions. If you have no questions, then I...
Okay.
Don't talk yourself out of this.
We're requesting approval.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. No discussion. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Thank you.
Craig, you're up next. I'm assuming that Ms. Tidwell is not here today.
Good morning, Judge,
Good morning.
Commissioners.
Morning.
We request you receive and file the Tarrant County financial statements for the month of March 2017.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Ms. Snyder.
I move approval of the claims recommended the risk management report.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Such a helpful person.
Mrs. Glenn.
Move to receive and file the personnel agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Thank you.
Motion passes unanimously. Vinny, you just want to do yours from back there too?
I actually wanted a spilled coffee on myself, but that's okay. I think I'll survive with the brown jacket. Well, good morning, Your Honor, members of the court. We have two items in front of you for your consideration. Item number one is a request for approval to open a purchase order for Clear Health Incorporated for data migration services towards the implementation of our new electronic health record. This is to migrate the data from the old EMR into the new EMR. This request is for approximately $54,000, and just as FYI, this will be part one. The majority of the work will be done, and then there will be a cutoff. A certain number of weeks will go by when both systems are going to be parallel, so there will be a migration too that comes along for the final data migration of the little portion that's left over.
Move approval.
Second.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Why is this not through IT?
Well, it's a public health project, so we've been asked to present it.
But it has gone through IT.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, IT and purchasing and public health, we're all working together on this. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any other discussion or questions? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Second item, we're requesting your approval for the FY18 Texas Department of State Health Services contract for the epidemiology and lab capacity for our infectious disease program. In simple terms, it's the Zika grant funding for our laboratory, $64,000 contract. Originally, we had requested close to approximately $1 million for Zika response. I think we got approved for $700,000 and some change, and they're coming in different buckets. A couple, 3 weeks ago, we had a $560,000 grant contract, and this is now the second of those grant awards coming through.
Move approval.
Second.
We're in motion second. Mosquitoes are starting up a little early this year.
Yes, sir, they are.
Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Vinny.
Thank you.
Jack?
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have 6 items for your consideration this morning. Our first item is a bid award recommendation for RFP 2017-001. It's an RFP for the Tech Refresh Program for Information Technology. Recommendation would be to award per the terms of the contract. Selected as our primary vendor, GTS Technology Solutions. Secondary vendor, CompuCom Systems, Inc.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 2 is another bid award recommendation for RFP 2017-057, signing a contract for mainframe hosting, managed services, and disaster recovery services. Recommendation would be toward the data management. If approved, we're seeking contract approval also from the court.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Number 3, another bid award recommendation for request for qualifications 2017-071, RFQ for professional architectural engineering services for various Tarrant County projects. We are recommending award to the 32 vendors as shown in your court communique.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 4, also a bid award recommendation for bid 2017-073, bid for the purchase of small laboratory steam sterilizers for the Public Health Department. Recommendation would be to award to Consolidated Sterilizer System, amount of $82,686.50.
Approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 5 is an item in regards to bid 2016-114. This is an annual contract for our U.S., Texas, and Tarrant County flags. This was previously awarded on May 7th, 2016. We are recommending rejection of that previous award to one vendor and asking that it be re-awarded to the next low bidders in place. We had some terrible problems with delivery. They didn't want to hold our prices firm. They seemed to enjoy just printing our Tarrant County flag on one side.
Move approval.
Second. I noticed that.
So did others.
Are there consequences for us having canceled this contract?
Typically, we exclude them,
Take them off for a couple of years is what we've done in the past. Yes, sir.
but you haven't asked that in this case.
Yes, we will. We'd like to.
So is that part of your motion? Is that part of your request?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Okay, I think we have a motion, and I think we have a second, and I think we have an interpretation that I hope is in the written part of your deal, but motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Our last item in regards to bid 2017-087. This is a new contract for our moving services. This is a bid that Tarrant County uses not very much. A lot of our participating entities and our co-op use it extensively. On the consent, we asked, which you approved, that be extended for 5 months. We are recommending rejection of the bids that we received and asking permission to rebid with revised specifications. The specs are old, pretty much antiquated. It would be very hard to bring a recommendation to court. We're gonna spruce it up a little bit.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
I meant to do this back when we were having employee recognition, and I'm old and forget things.
Jack, I'm assuming you're working on your report concerning the supply and new supplier of
This was not what I meant to do back during employee recognition, but I thought we'll let Commissioner Fickus go ahead and talk about his toilet paper.
I just talked to IT. We decided to go paperless.
Yeah, we just don't want to be shaking hands with you guys.
We actually conducted a toilet paper test on the 4th and the 5th floor. It was unanimous, and we have
That's the reason I have that roll of toilet paper in my regular size roll of toilet paper in mind.
I think that's a facilities question, but it was unanimous. We did substitute. Like I said last week, we're now a 2-ply county.
Wow.
Judge, could you finish what you had?
Well, I'm a little hesitant
Thank
to
you,
introduce him after we're going to have to talk about the toilet paper. My new chief of staff is Chandler Merritt. Chandler, please.
All right. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, he came to us from the city of McKinney, and prior to that, he was with the city of Irving. But he grew up in Tarrant County in the city of Azle. His dad was on the city council in Azle for, I believe, 3 terms? So he is very familiar and was very anxious to get back over to God's country. And so we're very excited about him starting. He started yesterday. And he and his wife, I guess, has now a 1.5-week-old baby boy. And prior to that, they also have a 20-month-old baby girl. So I traded traded Tom in for a younger model. Stand up, Tom. See, it's a much younger model. Yes. But as you know, and Tom will keep on the phone with Chandler whenever Chandler has a question, and we'll go from there. So first, as I've said before, I want to thank Tom for everything he did while he was in the office, and I'm looking forward to Chandler and what he'll bring to the office. He's worked a lot in the governmental affairs area with McKinney, even though I don't think that was directly his title, but he's had an opportunity to work with several of the legislators over in that particular area, as well as in the strategic planning area. He also worked with their transit mess that was up there.
Strategic planning, we need to talk.
Yeah, your door was closed this morning, or we'd have had the conversation ahead of time. I know you were tied up, and so. But again, I'm very excited about Chandler joining us, and he's living in downtown, I believe, right now, waiting for the home in McKinney to sell. But he walked to work yesterday, but then had to run home.
But you're still making choices from Precinct 4, so that's good. They were both raised in Precinct 4.
That's right. And in fact, his dad recounted having played in a few of your golf tournaments over that 3 terms. So anyway, welcome. If you haven't had a chance to meet, please make an opportunity to meet with Chandler. He'll be, I know, visiting around with many of y'all over the next few weeks. Now moving on along, anything else you want to add about toilet paper before we move on?
No, I appreciate the report, Jack. I'm assuming that you'll be covering the rest of the county here very soon with the new product, the 2-ply.
Commissioner Johnson, I believe you have an interlocal agreement.
I have one question about this from the DA's office. Has this been approved?
It has, Commissioner.
And then normally we have an item B on there. To begin the work, does that need to be included in this motion?
Yeah, I noticed that.
We always have an A and a B.
We approve it, then we allow them to start work on it.
I'm going to assume that it is needed, so I would move approval of item 9M1A and added B.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously, although if we do need B to go on, I don't think we can approve it without it being here.
This is an amendment to previous interlocal agreement, which.
So we probably have approved the work to go forward in the prior one, so I'll bet the amendment is all we need at this point in time. Anyway, we'll approve the A, and if we need B, then we'll be back next week.
All right.
Now, are there any appointments today? There being none, then we'll move on to approval of the claims, including the addendum.
So moved.
Second.
A motion is second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Briefing items, Mr. Manions.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have one item to bring to the court this morning. It's the legislative update. I believe you've received Mr. Mendez's memoranda. I'll be more than happy to try to answer any questions you may have on that document.
The one thing I would say is that they thought that they were going to be hearing SB 2 and HB 15 in the House this Wednesday, which deals with the revenue revenue caps. That now appears as though it is going to be, it may be the 10th, it may be next Wednesday. Many of the associations, TAC, CUC, have, said if you're able to make it down that Wednesday, they would love to have your appearance. And then they're also saying if you've got police or fire, if you can bring down those folks in uniform to also talk about that. So we may talk with our sheriff's department about the possibility of doing that. Just kind of know that that may be heard next Wednesday. In House Ways and Means, the chairman there has said, well, you all show up for the Senate, but you never show up for the House. So I think he's going to get his wish. I think there'll be plenty, but just put it on your calendar if you can. Anything else at this time?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Then we'll recess our open meeting.
Wait. Audience participation.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm sorry. Tony Abbs, I believe, wishes to come forward and speak at this time. Please come down. Mr. Abbs, when you get to the mic, would you please repeat your name and your address so that we have it for the record? Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Tony Abbs. I live at 5500 Windward Street in Fort Worth, Texas, 76132. I come for you today for a problem I've been having over a year, and that's the problem with the North Richland Hill Police Department. Well, it started at North Hill Hospital, where I was took there because I was having chest pain. And at the time I was there, I didn't like the way the nurse would treat me, and I said something to try to get the charge nurse in, but the nurse said, well, you can leave. And when he said that, he reached down and hit me in the chest and grabbed the things off my chest, making a mark on my chest. So I tried to file a charge with the North Richland Police Department. And to me, my opinion, because they work security there and they know those people there, they didn't do anything about it. They didn't do nothing about it. If I would have hit that nurse the way that nurse hit me, I'd be facing criminal charges right now. And I think that it would have been felony charge because it's a public service. But that nurse struck me. North Richland Hill didn't do anything about it. They told me that they filed it with the DA office, and the DA office said it wasn't there, and they turned it down. And I said I couldn't believe that. So I went down to the DA office myself, and I found out they didn't know anything about it. It wasn't filed or nothing. 2 days later, and when they found out I went down there and talked to them, 2 days later, they put up a package and they sent something down there just to cover the steps. Well, I went back to them. I said, that's not right. That's not fair. So I told them I was going to go talk to Commissioner Brooks because I just feel like that there's some wrong things going here. Well, they put up another package together again. And Channel 5 did a segment on me, and they got my picture on the internet. They pulled my picture off the internet, and they sent it over to the DA too, because they had it. And they sent it over to Brooks' office, Commissioner Brooks' office. And there was a warrant for my arrest on a traffic ticket out of Arlington, but those warrants were no good because there was a mistake that Fort Worth made, and at the time I was going through something with Fort Worth. That's the reason why they had the thing on Channel 5 News. But I can't comment on that. But those warrants weren't any good, and they knew that. But because that warrant was there, they sent it over to Commissioner Brooks, and when I got there, I was arrested.
Excuse me, they sent it to the constable's office.
Your office
They did
too.
not
You
send
had
it to me.
You had it too,
No, that's
Sir,
not true.
Okay, all right. Well, anyway, I was arrested in your office on these bogus charges.
That's true.
Yes, on bogus charges. Okay.
But you were not arrested by me.
I don't think we
It's
can.
not on the agenda. We can't discuss
Let's not get into a discussion about it.
Okay. Well, anyway, well, besides the point is, that I went back and I talked to, I guess his name is Gary. He said that he's assistant to Sherwood was with, because I've been calling, I've been flooding the office calling to talk to her about the situation. Well, anyway, he's saying that His exact words what he told me, and I told Commissioner Brooks what he said. He said, I believe the hospital, I believe the Norwich police, but I don't believe you. I think you're lying. And this is someone from the DA is telling me, and there's pictures showing that where I was assaulted and all like that. Okay, so I knew right there I wouldn't get nowhere with him. So I just left it alone. I left it alone for a little bit. Okay, I got some land out by Denton, and I had a bull that got out. I went out there to try to get my bull and stuff back into the gate. I had chest pain again. This was about a week ago. This was last Sunday. So I stopped at the nearest 7-Eleven to get some aspirin. Then my chest was hurting. And then it just happened in a mid-start. Emily was there. They said, hey, we need to take you to the hospital. And so we're going to take you to the closest hospital. So they took me to the closest hospital, and that nurse that hit me was at that hospital. Right there, I didn't want to be there at all. I wanted to leave, okay? Because I know the thing between there. Well, anyway, he got to talking, told everybody about it, and I wasn't getting the right care. So I said, you know what? Even though I'm hurting, I want to get up and leave, and I had the right to do that. I got up and leave, but guess who did security at this hospital? North Richland Hills Police Department, and they know me. I got up and walked. Now check this out. I got every right. I have every right to leave that hospital. Have been any wrong, committed no crime. You know, he followed me for 3 blocks, flashing the flashlight on me, making me look like a thug, making me look like I'm unworthy. 3 blocks, he followed me. And he called forward police, told forward police that I crossed the highway. That's the reason why he would follow me. But I did not cross no highway because we was on the same side of the hospital. Police got there. They kind of laughed about it. So they kind of joked about it. They kind of sent the guy home. But I'm telling you that I fear for my life with North Richland Hills Police Department. If I would have never called 911, I think something would have happened more like, because I can't protect myself with these guys. These guys can do anything they want to do to you, and they can write up a report, lies, and get away with it. But this guy followed me for 3 blocks, arrested me, shining lights on me. There's other people that saw me, were trying to put their hands on me, thought that I'm running from him. I'm not. This guy was following me, arresting me. Because I'm standing up for my right. I was assaulted, hit by a nurse at North Richland Hills Hospital, and nobody did nothing about it. Nobody did nothing about it. And they covered it up. And it's not right and it's not fair.
Mr. Adams, we appreciate it. Let me explain a couple of things. Because this is not on our agenda today, we cannot respond in any way, we're not supposed to respond in any way to your comments. And what we normally do, because normally when someone is making a public comment to us, it is regarding, our departments or something along that type of lines. Now, you're right, you mentioned the district attorney's office, but what we would typically do is say, talk a little bit with Mr. Manius, who's our administrator, and we'll see what, if any, resolution we can bring to this. I wish, and that's really all we can say because it's not on our agenda.
I understand that, but let me say this. I'm scared to go through North Richland Police because I feel like my life, if they catch me in North Richland Hills, I feel like that my life, it will be in danger. I feel like, and I told my wife, and I told my daughter, if I happen to die, and North Richland Police have me, I'm telling you, I fear for my life in there. That man had no business following me. That guy had no business doing what he did that Sunday night. And it's not right. And I go to the DA's office, don't get nothing there. Don't get no help with nothing. Some guy named Gary called me a liar. I go to my commissioner. I get arrested on a bogus warrant.
And again, sir, I appreciate what you just said is on the record, but there's no response that we can make at this point in time because we're not allowed to by law. By law, we cannot discuss an item that is not on the agenda. You can bring it forth and you can talk about it. We just, by state law, are required not to respond because it was not on the agenda.
So how do we get it on there?
So you talk with Mr. Manius and he will explain to you the steps that we have to go through.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir, for being here today. At this time, we will recess our open meeting and proceed to close to discuss items exempted under Section 551.071, 072, 074, 076, and 087 of the Texas Government Code. There being no business to address at this time, we are adjourned. I see Commissioner Johnson back there.
Gary just
You want us to web it?
came into the kitchen.
We need to get I'd like to get a picture of the court and we send it.
Okay, let's go out there then.
Who you sending that picture to Trump, you say?
No, I'm sending it to,